Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. Even though Chris might not get this up till the afternoon or whenever, I don't know how far behind we are. I know he just handed me another bunch of comments, and I appreciate them very much. So I know this one friend of ours here, she says, it's hard to be hardcore. It is hard to be hardcore, you know. And let me tell you, I don't judge any of you on that. When you were going after something important, especially your neurological cases and cancer cases, those are the two that are really need to be hardcore, because those are really serious issues. And so I'm really hardcore with those issues. Most everything else I'm not so hardcore, because I realize the way we've been conditioned through generations, actually, and the cells have been conditioned. So, there's no need to, it's nice to get focused. I was really focused when I first started into this. I was extremely self-disciplined, but it unbalanced me, and it was important to go there, though, and that's why some of you that I see get there, it's okay. You know what? It's okay, because it's just the nature of the beast here. So let's go through this, get some more, because you guys are coming up with some new questions and some good questions, and I really love that, because I see you guys as the future and the now, the future and the now. And this one comment by a gentleman who's working with his friends and working with people. They say that I don't have any credibility here, that they like Dr. Oz and all these people, and it's like, it's okay, my friend. I've been called probably every name you can imagine through the years, particularly by medical doctors, but I'll be honest with you. Dr. Oz is great. He's kind of a new kid on the block. All these people have their own things. I watch Dr. Oz's show. He comes up with some good stuff, Is he a deep tissue detoxifier and cellular regenerator? No. He hasn't had the years we've had in here, but is he a good dude? Absolutely. All these people that are developing and opening up to these areas are good people. Deepak, a great doc. But do they know the deeper levels of tissue regeneration? No, they don't. Dr. Wild, no, he doesn't. Are they on the path? Absolutely on the path. And so I can tell you this, and without ego, I think, every religion is different on this planet, obviously. And what's interesting is the human consciousness, not you, the human consciousness is still very constipated, in that mine is better than yours type of thinking. However, it is all just simply levels. It's just like school. What you see around you is creation, and it reflects all these different levels of creation. And so there's first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. There's all levels of development. And as it is with awakening, there's all levels. So when some people say, I wish I'd have known this because my mom died, it wasn't meant to be, man. I can just tell you have to look at it that way, or you rip yourself apart. You just have to realize things are as they are and will be as they will be. And the more you let go, then the power of God flows through you even more. And then you can get more things done, but not for you as much as good for the whole. When it's good for the whole, you notice it works, but when it's me, it doesn't work so easy. So it's all about what's good for the whole. Another thing I like to say, when people talk, and this one guy was addressing Leo yesterday, Leo, there's a few things that I think is important to learn, and that is before you say something, because you can get real direct with people, and it's okay. I don't mind you getting direct with me if you don't mind me getting direct back, because that's the way it goes, see? That's just, and I try to not get that way, but it's okay. I don't mind these kind of questions. But I don't want everybody else to get caught in the vibration of me responding back, because I want to keep this a loving site. But one master once said to me, he said, before you speak, think, is it kind? Is it true? And is it necessary? And I think I've always had that in my mind. Before I say something to somebody, I always say, is it kind? Is it true? And is it really necessary? And so it might be necessary for your own ego. You'll see me slip here and do that once in a while. I'll just get carried away with that, and I don't mean to. But after years and years and years of this, you kind of get, sometimes it just gets you and you respond to it. That's all there is to it. I like to pass these things off, and so is true with the gentleman that was talking about his friends, and he was having a hard time with them. It's okay. I can tell you that you're on the top of the mountain here. You will not find a higher healing system than what you're doing. You can find different herbal formulas. You can find, maybe there might be better ones out there. Who knows? We might be able to come up with better ones. But in terms of detoxification, you got the fruits and water fasting, and there's just nothing else. There's nothing there. There's nothing out there. And when you understand the simplistic nature of the human body, bunch of cells, two major fluids take care of the health of the cells, and there's only two sides of chemistry, and you really get that. And you realize these two major fluids invade all cells head to toe, and that chemistry invades the body head to toe, and you start looking at this. It's generally location, 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 but trauma. This one case yesterday about this poor young girl that was born with cerebral palsy from the cord or the wrapped around her, not having oxygen, and she's going to do well. And you can rebuild these tissues, and this is the problem. Man lost his faith of healing, and now these generations are passed so long that some people just don't have a clue. When you say regeneration, they're going, what? They don't have a clue, because medical doctors are not into this level of work. They're into their level of treatment with toxic pharmaceuticals, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Homeopathy should replace allopathy. It's just that simple. But you guys understand this, and you had to be understand that you guys are ready for this. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's a process, but you'll find that I've had 40 years of trying everything. I'm a biochemist. I've tried everything out there. I mean, when I get something across my desk, this is a wonder nutrient, da-da-da-da-da. You hear this all the time, Whitaker, all these wonder nutrients. Try them. You'll end up coming right back to where I'm sitting, let me tell you, because in 40 years, and if you're like me and you have the desire to help people be healthy and well, then you try things. Even though you know simplicity, you sometimes, oh, look what, this could be, I'll try this. But I can tell you, I always come back to this same chair, and that you're on the top of the mountain, no matter how you look at it. And so everything else is way down the street, and nobody regenerates well. So you guys have the keys, and if your friends or your people you're talking to don't get it, it's okay. They will or they won't. Doesn't matter. If they do, they've helped themselves tremendously. If not, they're not awakened enough yet. And it's okay. It's not meant that everybody awaken at these higher levels, I can tell you. There's all kinds of levels out there, and that's why you see all kinds of religions, philosophies, and all these things, and I respect each one of them, because somebody's getting off on that. That's really ringing true to them and helping them, and that's important. Sometimes you'll follow a teaching to a point and it doesn't help you anymore. You've grown beyond that teaching. You can grow beyond your teachings. You can grow beyond Christianity. You can grow beyond Buddhism. You can grow beyond all things material. You can go beyond religious concepts and ideologies and philosophies and things like this. These are cool things on the road to God consciousness. But eventually you have to set it all aside and be God conscious. Without any tools, any crutches, any masters, anything in between, you must finally not separate yourself from the Supreme Being. You, God. Once you eliminate that, you're home. And that's where you want to be, is home. So let me start to go through these, and I only have 15 minutes or so here. I apologize here. Good question was about food combinations. And I always respected the natural hygienic people. Had some great concepts with food combinations. I really only focus on two, bottom line, because if you follow those two, it really encompasses most everything. The first one is simple. Certain foods just simply digest faster than others. That's just the way it is. Fruits are one of the fastest digesting foods on the planet this side of melons. This is why you always hear that old saying, eat melons alone or leave them alone. Because like this morning I had watermelon. Now somebody said that I'm kind of fat for just eating blueberries and watermelons. I don't eat blueberries and watermelons. I eat grapes and bananas and things like that. I eat other things. I eat some cooked foods. I eat some vegetables. But there was a guy in town that had a bowl of oatmeal for breakfast, and he was about a 70-year-old dude. He had a bowl of oatmeal for breakfast, still a little hungry, so he asked his wife, he said, honey, you got any watermelon in the refrigerator? He's kind of craving some watermelon, you know. And so she said, well, yes, honey, I do. And so she brought him out a piece of watermelon, you know, and he ate the watermelon. He said, well, honey, I got to run to Home Depot, and I just need to pick up a few things. I'll be back in about an hour. Well, a couple hours went by, and he didn't come back. 3-4 hours went by, and husband no show, so she's getting concerned, and the phone rings. And, of course, it's the local sheriff's department. And the deputy said, you looking for your husband? Is this Mrs. Such? She said, yes, I am. He left this morning for Home Depot and he hasn't been back. He said, well, I arrested him this morning for DUI. She said, what? My husband doesn't drink. He said, well, that's what he's been telling us, but his blood alcohol level is above the acceptable range. She said, that's impossible. Well, he took this to court and won his case. And he proved that certain foods digest faster than others, and that those sticky, gluey oatmeal is going to be in there a while, and that watermelon, it was going down quick. Well, there was nowhere to go, so the sugars fermented, and of course his blood alcohol and blood sugar went way up. And that's the thing with diabetics. You must watch how you combine your foods. So we create a lot of alcohol. I remember this case where this lady was driving on the wrong side of the road. She was in a van with a bunch of kids, and she killed a whole bunch of people. Herself, her friends, a bunch of kids. And so they're really reaming her for being a closet alcoholic. And her husband says she doesn't drink. She maybe smokes a little weed, but she doesn't drink. And then her attorney on news was saying something about she had big sores on her legs, and no one was relating this except me. I was saying, you know, this lady had big-time lymphatic and kidney and adrenal problems. She probably combined her foods wrong and poisoned herself. And another case that'll link to that is an airline crash down in Colombia. There was a pilot crashed a jet airliner into a mountainside, killed 69 passengers and 7 crew members. And I read about this in the newspaper. When the FAA investigated this crash, they couldn't find anything wrong. They finally thought that it was the pilot's breakfast that had created alcohol poisoning in him, and some guy, he lost his senses or something, and this is what the story was talking about. And it's like, wow, this is just another confirmation of when you combine your foods wrong. Let's say you had blood sugar problems, weak adrenals, and you're not metabolizing sugars, suddenly you're combining these foods wrong. The biggest wrong food combination, in my opinion, is protein and starch. And the more sensitive you get to this, and the healthier you get, you're going to feel this every time. Is when you combine a protein and a starch, it's going to sit right there and it's not going anywhere for a while. That's basically mixing a need for an acid initially and, of course, a base or alkaline digestive enzymes. And it's just going to sit there and sit there and sit there. And I've screwed up many a times. I'm sitting there eating an apple to help digest it down, because bad combinations, protein and starch, and that's what they assumed this pilot had. And I assumed that this lady could have, and it's a real factor, so they're smearing her name, but in reality, this could be an improper food combination problem, creating blood alcohol and blood sugar levels. Those are facts. So I would separate my fast-digesting foods with my slow ones. Watermelon, maybe with some fruit if you want it, but that'd be the extent of that. I really keep my melon separate than my other fruit, although I can eat fruit about 15 minutes actually after a piece of watermelon. Have known to put fruit shortly about 5 or 10 minutes after. If you have a vegetable meal, that's a whole nother game. Those vegetables take a long time to break down. You would never put fruit on vegetables. You never put fruit on your salad, or you're going to get fermentation of that fruit. You just got to have more separation between a salad meal than adding fruit, than having fruit and then adding a salad. Because fruit digests very quickly. That's the beauty of it. You know, most people like to have their energy in their digestive tract. Well, when you get away from that kind of thinking, you'll enjoy the fact that you have energy to be aware. You'll have energy to have in the day. You won't sit there and be digesting a breakfast while you're trying to do your work, because there's your energy, not here. And so this is one of the most important keys about detoxification and wellness. You don't put foods in there that spend hours to digest and the body has to break them down. Where do you have that extra energy to heal or detoxify itself? Your body is quite an aware organism, and it needs energy to function. It needs energy to clean itself out, things like this. So food combinations, nuts and fruits, I've heard that's good. Okay, I mean, a lot of people eat trail mix, but you're going back to the same thing. A base and an acid digestive enzyme combined together. Don't really recommend it, to tell you the truth, but there's a lot of trail mixes out there that have these. I've been known to eat trail mixes. I get away from them because they put weight on me. And then everybody says, well, you're fat. Well, I'm just eating trail mix. Well, trail mix isn't healthy. This is nuts again. And you've seen a comment from a subscriber here about what she's experienced now with nuts. And it's just, when you get sensitive, man, all this stuff comes to light here. And I would have never known half of this had I not been a fruitarian. And I tell you, the rules are different. The rules of the road are different at each level. And no one that's a vegetarian can judge a fruitarian just by ideologies, because they've never been there. If you've never been there, I can't judge it. I say, well, I've never done it. I don't know. That's honest statements. People are so ready to make statements about fruitarianism that's never been there. Those are the ones that have no credibility. People don't have any credibility to me that's never been there. I mean, how could you? You're speaking from an ideology or a conditioned thought or propaganda. You're standing on a false mountain, and there's no reality. Those are the people that have no credibility to me. If you've walked the walk, then we can talk. So, good question. I really do appreciate that, my healthier me. That was a good question. I know I didn't have that probably in my repertoire there, and the more of these good questions. And here's a good case here, guys. Let's solve this case. This is the KB, and this is a good case. This is about healing the gut. I've been suffering from 9 months after having my baby with lightheadedness. Head feels stuffy every day with dizziness that comes and goes. Now let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. Where do you think that is? We've covered this before. So where do you think her problem is right now? Right here in the cerebellum. Just remember, this is the cerebellum. You've got the medulla, the mastoid, the ear. All this deals with your equilibrium, dizzy, vertigo center. So she feels stuffy. What's that? That's her lymphatic system. So her lymph system is not moving well at all. She's got pressure up here in the cerebellum. This is important to fix, but she's not draining her lymph system right off. So let's go on here. It gets better. Because has had an insulin shots. She had insulin shots, magnesium sulfate during labor. which may have weakened my liver and kidneys even more. So she knows she's got weak kidneys for sure. After I got out of the hospital, my health has never been the same. I have swinging hypertension. Remember, we've talked about the swinging blood pressure right here. It takes her right back here to her cerebellum again. So everything's taking us up there, but what's taking us? The lymphatic system. When I awake in the mornings, around 150 over 100, at night 180 over 115. Well, I can tell you already have kidney weakness. Obviously, on top of you're not moving lymph and it's backed up into your head area here, honey. You got to fix that. There's a bitter taste in the mouth. Well, that could be acid taste in the mouth. That could be a metal taste in the mouth. Acid taste of some sort in the mouth there, honey. Went to a holistic doctor to do an intestinal permeability test. Well, here's this leaky gut concept where you're dumping, you're leaking undigested foods, or you're leaking toxins into the bloodstream. You know, I don't get into that kind of thinking, because I can tell you, if you have a leaky gut syndrome like that, you're going to be rushed to the OR and you're going to be in serious trouble. Death can result real quick. So this idea that you're spilling off toxins into the blood from the bowel, I don't know how much I get into buying that sort of thing. Yeah, there's probably some degree of that, but I don't know. You know, worst thing is interstitial lymphatic constipation and inflammation. Your gut starts springing a leak, you're going to the OR real quick. That's all I can tell you. I think you're just a really toxic, you're interstitially lymphatic constipated in the gut wall, probably malabsorbed out of that. Hypertension is not from the leak spilling of food particles and toxin into my bloodstream. I must say, man, you would really be in the OR if this was a very serious issue here. I would clean out my liver no matter what, because your bowels are probably interstitially lymphatically constipated. Your lymph system's backed up. It's backed up in your head here. And of course, that's definitely a look at the transverse colon here. You say your eyes are, did I see down here that you have hazel eyes or something? That's chronic bowels. That's just chronic bowels, chronic gut. And you have to back up on that. Overloading my liver because my circulation is low. A lot of people blame blood circulation when it's a lymphatic problem. You can have low blood circulation, but boy, I tell you what, another name for that can become ischemia, and that is life-threatening to cells. More than likely people have poor lymphatic drainage than they have poor circulation, I can tell you. You see this a lot in the lower legs, where they blame the venous system for not moving the toxins away, and they venous strip people all the time, and it doesn't do any good because it's not a venous problem, it is a lymphatic problem. And you see this just over and over and over again. Lack of understanding of the lymph system. Sounds like this naturopath has a lack of understanding of the lymph system. She's also anemic. She is low on blood. Low on blood what? You said low blood volume, low blood cells, low red blood cells, low white blood cells. Let me know what that is. That doesn't, the tightness, and she says that makes for my tightness and hypertension. That has nothing to do with blood. This is all lymphatic stuff, honey. This is all lymphatic stuff. I also have abdominal water retention, lymphatic stuff. Your chronic bowels, you're holding water because you're highly acidic. You got gallstones, liver stones, low hydrochloric acid. So you wouldn't want to eat protein, would you? That means you have stomach when you have a chronic gut. You have a chronic stomach and bowel area, and you want to deal with that. It's a good case. So you get on the stomach and bowel formula. You do a lymphatic 1 capsules. The same time now, you're going to go into the kidneys real aggressively. You're going to go get your adrenal glands up. You're going to really do, say, lymphatic 4 for a couple of months, and then do lymphatic 3. Really start pulling on this lymph system. Do some fruits. She has sluggish pancreas and spleen. Well, you know, use an herbal formula for the pancreas. We have a herbal formula for the spleen. Clean these out. But more than anything else, the lymph system is your problem that's affecting all these other tissues, if that's the case. If you have low enzymes, then you use the pancreatic formula to rebuild tissue. But what breaks down tissue? It isn't leaky gut, it's the lymph system. And this is where you see the biggest problem in this case right here is the lymphatic system. So you really want to address that real important. Yeah, and you're just telling me the iris is a chronic bowel iris. So that's a bit of an issue. You know, you've got some work ahead of you. And where I see a chronic bowel iris, I see transverse colon problems, pituitary problems. So you might want to look at that too. My question is, how do I safely patch up a leaky gut? Well, you don't patch it up, your body patches it up, but again, I carry leaky gut only so far because I can tell you in the medical world, if you have a true leaky gut, you're in the OR. So you want to strengthen. If your connective tissue is weak, work on that parathyroid gland. Probably wouldn't hurt you anyway to work on the parathyroid gland. Definitely get your lymph system draining out of your head area because this area is involved in you, and it could be suppressing parathyroid, thyroid, pituitary, and the like there. Decongest your liver and all that. That's all lymphatics anyway. But fruit. You know, this is a good case to stay on a high fruit, berry, and melon diet. Now you could take the bones for me if you needed to repair any tissue that you thought you might need. Then liver, kidneys, you do it all the same. I've read that we shouldn't detox our liver and other organs until we first heal the gut lining. Let's just take this sentence for what it is. I've heard that you shouldn't detox our liver and other organs until we first heal the gut lining. How would you suppose you could heal the gut lining without detoxifying the body? Because you can't start eating raw foods without detoxifying. It's just what your body does. That's how your body heals, because it is the acid toxicity that breaks down the gut wall. But I'm still not with you on leaky gut. I mean, we throw that word around a lot. But a true leaky gut is a much more serious thing. Naturopaths and health people throw that leaky gut syndrome around a little bit too much. It's a lymph system that's a really big issue here. If you have a true leaky gut, you're going to need surgery. But I can just tell you that this statement is an inaccurate statement, sweetheart. You were told wrong. Detoxification is cellular regeneration. You have to fix what breaks down tissue. If we're going to take this for what you're saying, when tissue breaks down, you have to repair it. What breaks down tissue? Well, there's only two sides of chemistry. It's the acid side of chemistry that breaks down tissue. So how are you going to fix that without detoxifying your body? You can't. You can't. It's because when you start doing the things it takes to repair tissue, it's a detoxification experience. So just remember that, and don't be afraid. Just eat a light diet of fruits, berries, and melons and move your lymph system, sweetheart. You'll be fine. But it's a good case, and it's took up all our time today, but I'll be back with you. But it's a good case, and I like these good cases, and you'll be okay, sweetheart. You really will. Just relax and detoxify. You've got a lymphatic problem, big time, and this is how we can keep coming back. These are good cases to show you. Got a couple more real good cases that need to be addressed. Try to address them today. We'll see what my day turns out to be, but this is a good case. Move your lymph, get those kidneys, get those adrenal glands, pop up the parathyroid. That strengthens connective tissue. That's the only way to strengthen connective tissue is to utilize calcium properly. But you also have to realize what takes calcium out of connective tissue, and that's acidosis. And acidosis is the lymphatic system. And acidosis is the lymphatic system. So you always got to address it in that way, that everything, this will pull out, your liver will pull clean, your spleen, your pancreas, everything will pull clean, and you'll be okay, honey. And then everything is good. You probably lost some calcium having this child. And if you have a parathyroid weakness, that's a problem. If you had a little postpartum depression, then you know you have a parathyroid weakness. Wouldn't hurt to bump that parathyroid up anyway. I'd take a formula Calma Plus. and pump up that parathyroid. That'll strengthen connective tissue. At the same time, clean up those valves, clean up that lymph system. When you say clean up something, that means move the lymph, because the only other fluid is the blood. And the blood is easy to clean up, and I don't think you're having a blood problem. If you are, fixing the lymph fixes the blood. And just eating a good diet will. So you'll be okay. It was a pleasure being with you this morning. Again, I've got to run, and I apologize, but I have so many good questions here, and you guys are getting sharper, asking better questions, and we're getting a good history. I know there was a guy that said he wasn't going to listen to our videos anymore because we haven't got them arranged, or we haven't got them filed good for him. Okay, see ya. Because I don't know what to tell you. I'm putting these out just as fast as I can. Get to your questions. There's some serious cases here. We're doing them. We're doing the best we can with these. I'm trying to give these as a gift. If you don't like them, we're just putting them on as we get them. Maybe someday one of you guys will help us and we'll file them right and everything will be good. But right now it's hard for us just to get them up in time so I can get to your questions. So please be patient. And for those of you that don't like the way we file them, we just don't have the time. And that's the way it's been in our office all my life. We just don't have the manpower and the time, because money does make things go round. And if I don't make a little money, I'm not sitting here at all, because I have my bills to pay too. So just relax and bear with us, and we'll get these up someday in a better order for you. But now I'm just trying to get a good archive of this so you guys can get educated to the top of the mountain, and we can go out and make a huge difference, which you already are. And so don't get upset if some of your friends don't think this is a way for them, because you've got to have a high spirituality and growth to be able to connect with this and go into this. So you guys have to, I want you to give yourself a hand and understand that you guys are very developed souls. To come into my door and to understand this level, generally speaking, you're an awakened being, or you're right at that door where we're going to open some doors and suddenly the light's going to pour in. And so you're ready for this. If your friends aren't, too bad. Mine weren't either. Anyway, have a great day. I got to run. Love you all. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.